Good morning, everyone. My name is Oman Chandral, and today I'd like to begin my presentation by asking you a question. Basically, all of us know the presence of digital art, but how often do we actually use it? When when we have an art installation in mind, do we actually execute it by means of digital art? Today I'll be giving a presentation about advantages of using Ardunio to make art. Well, first of all, what's an Ardunio? Well, it's basically a development card, also known as a microcontroller, which consists of a processor and pins. And that's basically all you need to know because you can practically make pretty much anything out of an Ardunio, even a computer. Now I'd like to mention why I've chosen this topic. Well, I've been an active member of Mechanical Engineering and Innovation Society for almost over a year now, and that's how I was first acquainted with Ardunio. And I have a general interest in art, and I've been researching ways of integrating technology into art ever since I found out about Ardunio. Now I'd like to go over my overview of this presentation. I've basically divided my presentation into three main categories. The first one is interactivity, the second one is freedom, and the third one is that it's an open source library. Now, my first advantage is interactivity. According to a research done by Sheikh in 2011, he found out that interactive art is really far more successful than conventional ways of art. Because in his research, he found out that when an art installation is more when an art installation is more interactive, the engagement rate of audience increases dramatically, and thus the message spreads across audiences much faster and much easier. But how do we actually make an art installation interactive? Well, we use sensors, and by doing so, we take the project to a much larger scale. Let me put this into perspective for you. If a development card is the brain of an electrical circuit, then the sensors as the name suggests, are the sensory organs of the electrical circuit. Now I'd like to give you an example. I've read a news piece by Romano in 2016, submitted under Ardunio's official blog. And in this news piece, he mentions Stellar, the Night Piece by Francesco Ferris. And in this art piece, the artist collected all data of over more than 3,000 constellations and stars. And what the artist's installation is that when you hover your hand over a star or constellation, the installation emits light and sound according to the distance, the brightness, and the temperature of the star, according to the data. And software-wise, this project consists only of 2 Ardunio boards. I don't know about you, but I am fascinated by constellations. So this news piece was the, let's say, a starting point for my curiosity. Now I'd like to go over my next advantage, which is freedom. Ardunio is most well known for its comprehensible programming language. And according to a research done by Alicia Gibbs in 2010, who wanted to research Ardunio, whether it was a malleable tool for artists or not, she found out that Ardunio provides a quick prototyping for artists, and because these artists were not exposed to Ardunio before, when they engaged with it, they found out that Ardunio was actually a whole new area of creativity. And lastly, I want to mention open source library. Well, what does an open source library mean? It basically means that everyone can contribute, and there are new libraries being coded every day for users, by users, and it's now basically a community-driven blog. Let me give you an example. What you see is a LED matrix, and in order to get this display, you have to individually turn on and off these individual LEDs. However, when you use a library, what you do is you type in whatever you want to display, and thus you get it with the help of a library. And I'd like to finish this advantage by giving you a quotation from Tomigo, the co-founder of Ardunio. When he was asked the open source library aspect of Ardunio, he said that, "I don't think there's an answer to what would you do differently, because when we encounter something we do differently, we make a change." And on that note, I'd like to end my presentation by giving you a summary of what I've talked about so far. So far I've mentioned making art an experience, the relationship between technology and art, and how Ardunio can create new horizons for artists, and the overall digital art. I'd like to thank you for your undivided attention, and I hope that I've also sparked an interest and a curiosity for creating digital art in you. Here's a list of my references if you'd like to check any of them, and as far as the time allows, I'd now like to take your questions.